Detective Comics 976, James Tynion the fourth on the writing and Javier Fernandez on the art. So we're still dealing with the fallout of everything that happened with Batwoman shooting Clayface. Not Batwoman herself. There's a lot about Batwoman. We see Batwoman with the colony, and she's with Azrael and Batwing, and they're going around being colony. And I kind of like their discussion because she's basically like, hey, 9 times out of 10 I agree with Batman, find another way. But there's always that 10th time where you have to do the killing, so we're going to be that. That's what we're going to do. So that's
and it makes sense that Azrael's on her side because, I mean, he was the Knight of the Order of St. Dumas, so he knows about that 10th time. And then I'm intrigued why Luke Fox is there. Just outside of needing something for him to do, I don't feel like he's necessarily that in line with Kate, but it adds to a fun.
Yeah, I think what how you justify it is you say that okay, he disagrees so strongly that there was another option with Clayface that's made him see the idea that no, sometimes you do have to go that final step, and that's why he's on her side. He just agrees with that basically.
Oh yeah, I'm not put off by it. Like I like that visual of when we get introduced to send them in, and you turn the page and it's Batwoman in her new colony suit, which is basically her old Batwoman suit with a new logo.
Yeah.
And Azrael and what's his name?
Batwing.
I kept wanting to call him Bat Knight, and I was like, that's not right. But Batwing, yeah.
Yeah. So, and we start with like a flashback to like Cass, like beating up some bad guys, and then Clayface comes in as a help, and because you don't realize it's a flashback at first, because at first you think, oh, she's dishing out her anger because she's still upset, but no, this is a flashback, and Clayface comes to help.
No, it said a couple weeks ago, up in the corner.
Oh, did it? Okay, I didn't notice that. Yeah. That's my bad.
Yeah. I mean, but either way, it still works because you're not expecting Clayface to pop back in, because you don't know how much time has passed since the last issue. So, but yeah, and then Clayface comes in and makes you feel sad because you actually care for that big old ball of mud.
You do. You really do. And it cuts to like Cass in therapy with Leslie Tompkins, and she's just like, "Oh, what if they have to kill me one day?" And like, because she's like, it's like the way it ends. Because I love the way this double page like layout ends, because she's talking to Leslie Tompkins, and she ends it with, "Yeah, I mean, eventually they have to kill her. But what if they have to do that to me one day? What if they can't trust me?" And there's a final panel, just Bruce. He's watching this conversation in the cave, and he's just got his head down. He feels like he's failed. You feel the failure from him, and it's just like, oh man, this hurts. Because I think what I've really come to learn actually about both Detective and Batman right now is that they're both in a lot of ways about Bruce actually kind of moving on and like healing from what he's not just about, oh, my parents died, I need to war on crime. Batman's about him accepting that he's allowed happiness, so he's going after he's marrying Catwoman. This book's about him actually building a family, and it's starting to crumble, and it actually hurts a lot because it felt like there was potential here, and
weirdly both about his failings. It's like maybe he's not the best leader, despite his best efforts, because his way always isn't what's best for everybody. No. And he's slowly.
To be fair, most great Batman stories deal in some way that he's not actually perfect. He just tries to be the best he can.
Well, that's why I loved Morrison Run so much. Is you didn't have that Bat God that's infallible, and he's always has a plan, and we got to see the different ways he was dealing with this assault that attacked his psychology more than anything.
Yeah.
And here I feel it's not along those same lines where he's getting attacked, but these are harsh lessons for him, where he thought he had it all figured out.
I think the Bat God's okay in small doses. Like I think every so often you want him to just be a badass for
Well, in big moments like Final Crisis, I'm perfectly fine with it. Like Morrison used it perfectly then, and then as he was falling through time and it made his return.
The problem is when it's just Bat God all the time, every time.
Yeah,
that's what it's an issue. But
there's that Future's End issue with him that I was just like, I can't.
I think there's inherently just like, I think all superheroes, every so often you want them to just stand triumphant and like beat the odds no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, you always want those moments, but yeah. So the big thing here, of course, is that Tim is trying to rebuild the Gotham Knights again, and Bruce is basically hacked into his stuff, and he's like, hey, you've got this basically. I mean, Tim is not envisioning it as a dystopia, but he's like, this is this future that we've been hearing about. This Pax Mana.
You're a sci-fi fan though. What when there's a big grand society, when do they ever envision it as a dystopia? They never do. They always have utopia
true.
in mind.
That's absolutely true. Road to hell's paved in good intentions, as they say.
That's right. And this arc has made me gone from loving Tim to wanting to reach through the comic and shake him and go, stop. All right, listen to somebody for once.
Yeah. Oh, he's like hell bent in this, and Batman's like saying, "Hey, no, like I care about what happens to you." In fact, one of my complaints with the art in the book, the art is typically very good. I do think when Batman turns around and says, "I do care about you," I do think his face is like a bit weird on that page.
It feels a bit sinister, not where it shouldn't feel sinister.
Yeah, it's almost got that. You know the creepy painting from It, where it's also all like stretched out. It looks a little just in a minor way. It looks kind of like that. It's weird, like a Picasso painting.
Sure, but yeah, it didn't nail its exact intent, but I got what they were saying.
Oh sure,
But I just Tim like, and again, I'm coming from a place where we know what happens with Colony and whatnot from that Days of Future Bats.
And he storms off. He overrides Bruce's controls of the cave and races off. And where it's going is Ulysses shows up, who of course is his biggest fan, right? And he's like, "Hey, I've seen your future. From Bat Tim, I've hacked in and I've looked at things and I know what's happening." And we know he's been obsessed. He's been creating Tim-related things left and right and whatnot. He's got one of his suits and the rest of it. But it ends with the OMAC symbol. Like he's like, "Hey, I know what you're going to create. Let's make OMAC together." He wants to be buddies and You said who wants it to be a dystopia. I feel like Ulysses here wants it to be a dystopia.
Well, of course, but we get that. I mean, from the time you see him, he's basically Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget sitting in the shadows in the chair. You know what I mean? Like he is bad guy du jour. I wonder if we do get an OMAC technology that's kind of like the OMAC project, where it's in random people. Because you remember when they did the first arc with the League of Shadows, and they said that the Shadows could have been anybody.
Yeah,
you never know who they are. I feel like they were seeding OMAC because that's how the OMAC project dealt with them, where they could override. There's nanites that could overwrite your DNA and turn you into an OMAC. So that'd be cool if that's kind of what they're hinting at. But yeah, Tim, I don't like him being shitty. Like I liked him as the smart kid that wants to do good. And here it's like he doesn't care about doing good. He wants to be right. And I always
honestly, I feel like this time in Detective, Ethan said to me that Tim really doesn't want to be a hero anymore. He wants to retire and do other things. And I wonder if send him off to college for a bit. Maybe we could get like a Veronica Mars style book with Tim at college solving cases while he's learning.
Yeah, even a mini or whatever. That's just him at Ivy University and strange things are afoot.
No costumes or capes or anything like that. No. But he's still a detective, so he starts helping in a Veronica Mars style way. I could see that being fun.
Yeah, and because you kind of want him. That he's the best Robin. Like for all intents and purposes. And I want him to keep that. I like that he always thought he was the one to become Batman. And here it's like, well, no, I want to be bigger than Batman. And I get that, and I get the Arrowed arc, but I don't like him, and I think that's Tynion's point, is we're not supposed to like him right now, but I think it goes too far.
That's fair. Overall, I think the issue's a fine issue. I love the Cass and Clayface stuff. I like what it's building to with the Colony, and I like what it's building to with OMAC. I think ultimately though it's an issue that doesn't really stand on its own as exciting because it's very much setting up the pieces.
Yeah,
mostly
it's transitional.
So which is fine. Obviously, you have to have those issues, but it makes for like a not a landmark issue. It's just a kind of a
But I do like the Kate and Colony stuff because it doesn't make it seem like it's this bad organization. It's like, no, we're gonna be what Batman Eternal was supposed to be, and that's what I think is. It's funny that this arc is titled Batman Eternal, not Internal, but yeah, it's kind of that's what Bruce wanted with the Eternal run, and Tynion worked on that with Snyder. So it's this worldwide Batman program, and it seems like it fits. They'll shoot a bad guy if they have to.
Yeah, full circle.